A first-time cruiser named Jordan boards a massive ship full of dazzling lights and smiling strangers unaware that hidden beneath the glittering surface lies a series of chilling mysteries that could change everything. Before we dive into today's topic, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with all our latest videos. Don't forget to like and comment your thoughts below. I love hearing from you. Jordan stepped onto the ship feeling a mixture of excitement and unease. The air smelled of salt and varnished wood. The ship towered above with lights glittering like stars in the evening sky. Every face around seemed happy, oblivious to the unknown that awaited them. As they dragged their bags along the crowded gangway, they noticed a few passengers whispering and glancing over shoulders. Jordan brushed it off as first-time jitters, but a shiver ran down the spine as the doors closed behind them. The cabin was smaller than expected, with a window that looked out to endless water. The sounds of waves crashing against the hull mingled with distant laughter and soft music. Jordan unpacked slowly, noticing the creaking of the floorboards and the way shadows moved strangely in corners. It felt like the ship itself was breathing around them. Dinner was a spectacle of lights and chatter, but Jordan could not shake the feeling that something was off. There was a man who watched silently from a corner with eyes that seemed to pierce through the crowd, and a crew member who smiled too widely. Lingering near the bar, night fell, and the first hints of mystery appeared. A soft tap at the window that should have been impossible, a whisper echoing in the hallway, and the sudden disappearance of a fellow passenger. Jordan decided to investigate, documenting small oddities, secret stairwells that seemed to lead nowhere, doors that were locked from the inside, and snippets of conversations overheard in hushed tones. Each clue pulled them deeper into a web of questions with no answers. The ship seemed alive and aware, testing the courage of those who dared explore its storm. Clouds gathered and the ship rocked violently for hours. Lights flickered and the hum of the engines sounded strange, as if struggling against something unseen. Jordan held onto the railing, feeling the panic of everyone around. Yet curiosity propelled them forward into the bowels of the ship, discovering a room filled with charts and logs that made no sense, and a corridor where shadows moved against the flow of the light. A voice whispered advice that made no sense at first, warning Jordan of dangers that could ruin the voyage, but seemed cryptic at best. The feeling of being watched intensified by the end of the night. A scream echoed through the halls. A sudden blackout swallowed the corridors, and when the lights returned, a key passenger was gone. Jordan realized this was no ordinary cruise. Each step forward revealed that the 20 things every first-time cruiser should know were far more than practical advice. They were survival instructions intertwined with mystery and fear. The storm continued outside, waves pounding against the hull, as Jordan prepared for the next day, knowing that what awaited could change everything. The following morning, the sun rose over a restless sea, but the calm was deceptive. The ship felt heavier, darker, even as passengers tried to carry on with breakfast. Jordan moved carefully, noticing the subtle signs of trouble, whispers between staff and passengers looking over their shoulders. The previous night had left everyone on edge, and the sense of being observed did not diminish. The crew seemed to avoid certain areas, and a few regular passengers had vanished without explanation. Jordan teamed up with the stranger who had been silently watching at dinner the first night. Together they followed trails of notes and hidden messages, discovering secret compartments and forbidden decks. Each new clue tied back to one of the 20 things that could save or endanger them on this voyage. The suspense mounted with each corridor they explored. Shadows seemed to twist around corners, doors closed behind them, and distant footsteps echoed without source. The ship was a labyrinth of both fear and revelation. As the days passed, the tension escalated, storms brewed, and the ship tilted dangerously, as if testing the resolve of those aboard. Jordan uncovered coded instructions left by someone who had known the dangers before their voyage, a series of warnings that had to be decoded under pressure while evading suspicious crew members and the passengers who had darker intentions. Every close call increased the urgency. The realization hit that survival meant understanding the rules hidden within the ordinary seeming advice given to first-timers. Confrontations became inevitable. Crew members revealed hidden motives, and a confrontation in the engine room nearly ended in disaster. Each revelation brought Jordan closer to the truth that the ship itself had a history of disappearances, cover-ups, and secrets hidden. In plain sight, the final night approached. Waves battered the hull, lights flickered. Shadows danced across the deck, and Jordan knew the moment of truth was near. The last piece of the puzzle connected all the 20 things to survival strategy and understanding. The subtle signs that most overlooked. The storm outside reached a climax as Jordan faced the final choice between trust and survival. In the end, dawn broke over a calmer sea. Survivors emerged, exhausted, wary, but alive, each carrying the memory of lessons learned and mysteries uncovered. The cruise that began as excitement and anticipation ended in revelation and understanding. The ship moved silently forward as if nothing had happened, leaving questions in the minds of those who had seen its hidden face, and the final whispers lingered in corridors, suggesting that even after the voyage, the secrets remained, waiting for the next unsuspecting traveler. Asterisk. The sun climbed slowly over the horizon, painting the sky with muted shades of orange and pink, but the light did nothing to ease the weight of what had happened on the ship. Jordan stood on the deck, watching the water ripple endlessly beneath the hull. The waves seemed calm, yet there was an underlying pulse, a rhythm that suggested the ocean itself held its secrets tightly. The survivors moved quietly around the ship, their faces drawn and pale, carrying memories that could never be spoken aloud. Every glance exchanged was a silent acknowledgement that they had seen more than they were meant to, and that some truths were better left buried deep within the heart of the sea. Jordan thought of the 20 things that had been learned in fragments through whispered warnings, sudden scares, and narrowly avoided dangers. Each lesson had revealed a layer of the ship that was invisible to casual eyes, a world beneath the cheerful lights and music, a world that tested courage, patience, and perception. The crew moved with practiced calm, hiding their knowledge behind polite smiles and small gestures that meant nothing to those untrained, yet every movement had been part of a larger pattern, a dance of control that had guided the ship through storms both literal and unseen. The stranger who had helped Jordan stood nearby, silent, watching the horizon as if waiting for something beyond sight. The wind carried faint echoes of laughter and cries that belonged to those who had vanished without a trace, and Jordan shivered, remembering how close the danger had been and how fleeting survival sometimes felt. Time seemed suspended on the deck, with the waves reflecting fragments of clouds and light. A seagull cried far above and then disappeared into the vast sky. Jordan realized that the ship was a living enigma, a place where ordinary rules did not apply, where every smile could hide a secret and every shadow could hold a story untold. The lessons learned were not merely about packing efficiently or choosing the right deck, but about intuition, trust, and the courage to act when no one else believed. The warnings, the 20 things, had become a code not of convenience but of survival, a map through a maze that existed in plain sight but only for those willing to notice and understand the rhythm of the ship. As the survivors began to retreat to their cabins and belongings, Jordan lingered on the deck, feeling a strange kinship with the vastness surrounding the ship. The horizon stretched endlessly, promising nothing and yet everything, and the thought that perhaps some mysteries were meant to remain unsolved brought an uneasy comfort. The stranger beside Jordan finally spoke, a few words that hung in the air like smoke, warning that the ship never truly let go of those who walked its corridors, that the lessons learned were never fully complete, that even as it sailed into calm waters, the currents beneath carried echoes of all that had transpired, and that the next voyage could awaken them again if one were not vigilant. Jordan nodded slowly, understanding that survival was a state of awareness, a perpetual readiness to see beyond the obvious and to move with the tides of hidden truths. The ocean whispered around the hull, the water gleamed in the rising sun, and the ship moved forward silently, almost as if acknowledging the events of the past days with deliberate purpose. Jordan inhaled deeply, tasting the salt on the wind, feeling the lingering pulse of fear and exhilaration intertwined, and knew that the memory of this voyage would never fade, would follow quietly in the corners of the mind and emerge unexpectedly in moments of calm or darkness. The horizon remained empty, yet full of possibilities, full of stories waiting to unfold for the next traveler, for the next unwary passenger, who would step onto the deck unaware that the 20 things were more than advice. They were keys to a world invisible to the casual eye, A world where courage, perception, and attention to the smallest details could mean the difference between safety and disaster.